But right now we're going to start out with our first guest. His name is David Pietrusza, and he's written some books. So let's find out about the book he's written right now. So hey, David.
Hey.
Yeah, tell me about your book that you've just written.
Well,
and you just happen to have a copy.
I just happen to have a copy.
Too long ago.
And I've generally written political history and about elections, and before that I did a lot of baseball history.
You did, actually, the first time you came on the show, years ago, it was a baseball book that you brought up.
Probably, because
yeah, it was.
I was co-editor of the official encyclopedia of Major League Baseball, and was president of the Society for American Baseball Research. And
so you like baseball?
I was a big baseball fan.
Yeah.
And one of the few people in the world, because who does baseball outside the United States or Japan, making a living on baseball history. But then I switched back to what I was trained to do.
Historian.
Which was real history. And so there were a couple transition works. There was a biography of the first commissioner of baseball, and then the gambler who fixed the World Series, Arnold Rothstein.
I know that. I think that was a book you talked about. Yeah.
That was a real breakthrough book for me in that way. And then we did a bunch of books on presidential elections, the 1920 election, which did very well, and which is option for a TV series by...
I know, I saw that.
Yes.
I saw that. So this is big time.
Yeah.
And you're on C-SPAN. We see you on C-SPAN.
That's right. Going to be on this Friday again we're reprising, actually about baseball, the 1919 Black Sox series. So we've done that, and about the book which I've just written Too Long Ago. That was covered by C-SPAN as well. So I've done all those presidential election years, 1920, 1932, 1948, 1960.
You look at parallels too.
Well, yeah, you can't really avoid them, but I mean, you don't want to go too far down that path because, what I used to say, people would say, can you compare Babe Ruth and Hank Aaron and it's like, well, all other things being equal, all other things are never equal.
Yeah, that's true.
So, there are parallels, but then they branch off. So, and the original, we still have original sin. So people still react in the same way, and they have their good points and their bad points, and they argue about certain things. And those things may change over years, and sides may change over the years.
Don't we see that? I mean, how?
That's right.
When you think about, even just in general, we had World War II, and our enemies were the Japanese and the Germans and stuff. And I mean, and things change, and now we're friends, and so.
Who's an isolationist? Who's an interventionist?
Exactly.
And it's changed partners in dance.
That's true. That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
I want to touch on some of with politics being out in the forefront mainly now. I do want to touch on the fact that you have written books about FDR, not FDR,
Yes.
Teddy Roosevelt,
Yeah.
and FDR, that parallel there. So where can people find books about these, the presidential elections and your historical books on politics? Because I think people are hungry to read those books.
Oh,
now.
they're all available on Amazon and BarnesandNoble.com, and look in your local library to find those. And they're available in ebook editions, and there are a bunch of audio books as well.
Aren't those nice?
Yeah, they really are.
Yeah.
And so all those things open you up to new audiences.
Exactly. And the audio books to me are just great because you can be doing chopping up vegetables and listening to a book at the same time.
Going for a walk.
Going for a walk. Yeah. Exactly. So what is this new book you're talking about?
Well,
and I think we have a slide of the picture of it.
It's different because it's not. Well, it's for years. A very good friend of mine said, you've got to do your memoirs. I don't care what you write about. I want to see more of your writing and basically how you talk and all that. And I said, no. No one wants.
Nobody's interested in it.
No, and there's certain dangers to writing about yourself and the people you know and all that.
But you don't want someone else to write about it.
No, you get to establish the narrative. However, if you do that, but and that was January 2019. We took her out for her birthday, and it was the last time she said, "Do this as a gift for me." And I still said, "No, no."
Little did you know you were going to have plenty of time.
Well, what really happened was the next month, a very good friend of mine had a massive stroke and was dead in a week. And I thought, the stories die with you.
Absolutely.
And, I think maybe I have to put these things down. And this is about Amsterdam. I'm from Amsterdam. It's a childhood memoir, which goes up to the time I'm going off to college. And so...
So you picked a really narrow time
Yeah, I
frame.
thought, well, maybe I'll do 20,000 words, and within a couple months, I had 70,000 words, and then you start taking stuff out and putting more stuff in, and then you play around with it and figure out how you're going to get it out there. And so it percolated for a while, but it kind of came with a rush. And, Amsterdam is a really
The rug
quintessential...
city. Remember they used to call it the rug city.
And there's a lot of rugs in this book.
Yeah.
And a lot of empty mills, and a lot of unemployment, and some tough times, and the immigrant experience, which back then was Polish, Italian, Lithuanian,
Kirk Douglas'
Ukrainian.
family was Polish,
Sure.
right? And
Jewish, but down the lower east end of the city. And so you had all of those things coming together, and what family life was like, and community life, and not only to jog the memories of people, and I was surprised by what jogged people's memories, and people related to who read it, and it did incredibly. It's still doing very well.
Right.
And to also explain to the younger generation, or the generations maybe yet to come, what life, just ordinary life, was like. And it's easy to, misinterpret things and think it was all poodle skirts and Elvis Presley or something like that, and I Like Ike. And it was those things, but there was a bunch of other things too.
Yeah, well, I think what what really does it is what you say, it kind of gets people thinking about the past, and maybe it will give them the impetus to write their own stories.
I hope
for
so.
their families.
I hope so, because that can be a very valuable thing. I was involved once in being a talking head for a show called Baseball's Golden Age. And what it was people's home movies. It wasn't the usual stuff. And so you saw all kinds of stuff from the home movies that you didn't see taken by the professional photographers.
That decided what to show.
Yeah. So you saw all these little back scene kind of things of the ballparks, or people just, interacting with fans. And so things need to be remembered that weren't covered by the big guys or the official guys. Right. And so bring those things to the fore.
I want to share with you that my uncle, Joseph Pompelia was his name, was living in Florida, and he was 101 years old. And I said to my husband, you need to go down. He was going to head south anyway with another thing that he had to do. And I said, please stop by. He happens to be in an assisted living. He had just moved into an assisted living, been on his own with his wife until she died. So he went there, and he did two discs of his telling his story of when he came off the boat from Italy, when he came off the boat, and he was, I think, 12 years old, and they put him in kindergarten because he didn't speak the language. See, so those are stories that, I didn't know that, but now I have it, and I've shared it with the family. So they oh, I didn't know that. But those are the important things when you talk about getting your story down. Get your video camera, use your iPhone or something, but get those stories.
It's so much easier now. Going back to baseball, one of the first great oral history books was called The Glory of Their Times, and a guy named Larry Ritter. Actually, it was a scam. He just wanted to go and talk and meet the old players from about like 1900 or so.
Yeah.
And so he recorded all of them, telling him it was going to be a book, but he had no intention of doing
But
it.
they are recorded.
And it turned out it's one of the great books you can read, period. I mean, and one of those things which made me, with a background in history, think, you could bring these two things together. It doesn't have to be some sort of whiz-bang kind of, sports for kids sort of thing, but it can be a serious study to do baseball history. And then I went, full circle, kind of like Roy Hobbs in The Natural, like I was away from the game of history,
that's right.
and came back to that.
Do you think you'll ever write another book about baseball, or have you done it all?
I don't know. I think that
I'm sure there'll be something that you didn't cover.
The topics, well, you just never know.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're doing this too long ago book or a memoir, and the topics at some point jump out at you, and maybe there's a story that will be like, yes, that hasn't been told. That hasn't been told. So I don't know.
I think that what you do is amazing, because when I like the Teddy Roosevelt and so, I mean, there are just so many, the stories that you tell and the parallels, and by the way, they're very, very well written. I mean, they're well written and enjoyable. And I love the fact that you give all the players, so you know who's on first.
I'm surprised
but in the
authors
political
don't
world,
do that, because people really, really dig that.
Yeah. Oh, I love it when they did it with Dr. Zhivago. I mean, I didn't know who half those people were. I have to keep going back to figure out who's this one. Oh, wait,
I was wondering if I should have done that with the memoir.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of people in that, and particularly since almost all the names are unpronounceable to non-Polish people. Yes.
Yeah. David, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show. One more time, hold up the picture of your book, because we want people to pick that up. They can get it on Amazon. They can watch you on C-SPAN on Friday. Is that what you said?
That's right.
And so you'll be able to.
And it's on demand all the time.
Yeah.
I've been on about 18 separate segments.
I know. I always see that you're on there. Yeah. And thank you. Keep sending those emails to me
Okay.
so I can keep up on you. Thank you so much for being here. It's been a pleasure to interview you, and I look forward to checking out your book. And it's nice to know about how kids grew up way back when.
It was way back when. Come to think of it.
Thanks for being here.